Good evening, everyone. I hope you've had a great weekend. Welcome to the weekly call. So I'm going to use these sessions going forward just to run through my hot list, what I'm looking out for the week, to give you a rationale on why I'm looking at certain trades, just so you can use the education that's on thetraderscircle.com, and you can use this as a blueprint to help guide you through the rest of the week. So what I want to do is start off with the news, which I'll do every week. So although I am a fundamental trader, I do tend to go off price action and technicals for my entries and for my initial analysis. Yes, the fundamentals do have an impact on the trades, but what I like to do is ensure that when I analyze the currency pair and I find an opportunity, I do look at the fundamentals that are coming up during that week, because more than often or not, those trades, those fundamentals will drive the market either for or against, I guess, the setup that I'm looking at. So, and what that also does is it steers the. So if I'm looking at a trade and I want it to come back first before I go long, for instance, those news releases can actually bring the market to those entry points and give me a better price before, and better confirmation before I go long or short. Okay, so here's the news releases, the major impact news releases for the week ahead. So we had the RBA, Royal Bank of Australia, the governor, Lowe, speaking early this morning. It's a bit of a non-starter. The market didn't really react to the speech. It wasn't as dovish as it has been over the past week or so. I think the market has kind of priced in the dovish statements from the past couple of weeks. But it is Monday. So obviously the rest of the market weren't open at the time. And as we know, during the European session and the US session that begin on Monday morning and Monday afternoon, Mondays do tend to be a day where you probably want to stay out of the market. You want to see how the market reacts. You want to see your initial analysis take shape before you go diving into the market and find out you've just been caught out with manipulation. So we've got sorry about that. I just wanted to get some of the medium impact in there as well. So so throughout this week we've got quite a bit of Aussie data coming out. The Aussie has been quite dovish over the past couple of weeks. I do believe it's priced into the market, but it does give us an opportunity to take some good technical plays, which I'll go through in a minute. We've also got the Bank of England, Carney, speaking on the 26th there as well. So that's likely to cause some volatility in the pound pairs. Pound pairs at the moment, we have found quite a lot of support. I think Brexit is priced in at the moment. We've had quite a lot of drama with the pound over the past few weeks, more so over the weekend as well, with Boris Johnson and that incident that was recorded over the weekend. The pound not really affected so much by that, but we are coming up to, especially with the pound dollar, we are coming up to a key level of resistance at the moment. So let's jump into the charts and I'll show you what I mean. So the pound pairs, as you can see here, this is a pound dollar. So my initial thoughts here are we just draw that area of support there. We are kind of approaching these areas of resistance here around the 127.70 level. We have had quite a straight up move towards those areas, so it would be likely now that we see some kind of pullback as we consolidate around these areas. If you look on the lower time frame, we can see that happening now. So for me, what I'd be looking for is a break above the 170. Let's get this here. I'd be looking for a break above these highs, like the 126.70 level, and then I will be looking for sort of a break, and then we want to make a pullback here, and before we hopefully see a continuation there. So for me, I have set an alert on my MT4 just below the 127.70, and what I'll be looking for is a break, roll reversal, and then a continuation. So we want a nice solid move, a nice solid candle above this area of resistance, above these highs. And possibly above the 127.80. We have if you look to the left here, we have got daily resistance of these levels here. So with the news coming out covering Brexit and the new Prime Minister, so with the votes for the new Prime Minister, and I wouldn't really be surprised if we just see some sideways movement, or even a pullback to sort of this area here. So I'd remain patient with the pound. At the moment, we have made a nice move up. It's looking, I'll just get rid of these. It's looking good on the weekly. We had a nice weekly close, and a nice weekly bullish engulfing. But yeah, it is early in the week, so we just want to sit back and be patient with it. So for me, what I've done is I've set alerts at this high. We can look for a continuation play, for a break above these the 127.70, 80 level, or if we see price rejection, we might have a short-term short play down towards this sort of area here. If you look at this here, or even further back towards this trend before we get a continuation. So I'm just sat on the sidelines at the moment, just waiting to see how this plays out. Again, we've got news later on in the week, which will most definitely affect this trade. USD JPY, I think this is more, this is higher up on my hot list. We've got a weak dollar and a stronger yen. So if we look at this continuation play here, this is on the daily time frame. We've seen significant weakness come through, materialize into the US dollar, especially after the FOMC last week. This is a simple strategy, just using a fib retracement here. So if you look at how this plays out, we obviously ended the week. Let's just go to the weekly. Sorry, we ended the week last week with a solid bar down. We haven't really got much to the left here. We could quite easily test these lows here and this sort of area here. If you draw a fib, the 16180 extension isn't too far from these lows to the left, the weekly lows to the left. So what I'm looking at here, if draw this fib on there, I'm just looking for a pullback to around this 50% retracement. If I drill in on the lower time frames here, we may not get that. We've had this doji already appear. We have seen a sell-off from that level. Interestingly as well, it's also sat under the 50, 20 and 10-day moving averages. So it has kind of rejected off those sort of levels. But I like to get the best price, and it is early in the week, and I don't want to be enticed into a trade where I don't get the best setup or it continues long. So it's like a false breakout. So what I would be looking for here is a pullback to test these areas. And if I miss this trade, then so be it. What will happen is I'll get it. I'll get another opportunity. So I don't really want to be entering this trade until I've got the confirmation. Using my strategy, I like to get the best price. So I would be looking for more of a pullback. If this was sort of Tuesday or Wednesday, I may well have already taken this as rejection and entered short here. But with it being Monday, just from experience, the market does have a habit of luring people into a false economy. So I'm just going to remain patient on there. Again, I've set alerts at these levels, and if they go off, I will look at price rejection. Look how I'll be looking for rejection at those levels, and then obviously looking at a potential short setup from those levels. One thing I'd also like to introduce is some of the rationale behind this. If we look at the currency indexes, so we just go to the dollar index here. We have got a weakening off of the dollar index, and as you can see, it's quite abrupt. It is sort of approaching these sort of. I've got every confidence that this is going to continue based on continue short based on these power bars here. However, we may well be looking for a pullback from any of these levels really. If we have sort of hit an area of support here already, but it doesn't show signs of retracing. Yeah, but like I say, with it being Monday, we may well see a continuation to sort of these levels here, and then using the fib again, maybe a pullback. Yeah, maybe a pullback. Sorry, just draw that on to sort of this area here. So if we see a nice pullback retracement, rejection from this 50%, 96, between 96.30, 96.50 level. You see a retracement from this and price rejection, and then continuation short there. So again, that correlates with USD yen. This correlates with this sort of setup here. So USD yen very much on my hot list. Again, we've got a strong yen and a weak dollar, backed by fundamentals. It's Monday. I'm looking for a pullback, which is a profit take from the previous week. Then I can assess how price rejects from the areas that I'm interested in getting involved in, correlate that with any new fundamentals, and if I get an opportunity, that's when I will enter. So it's a high probability trade setup. Euro USD. Again, we've got a strong euro and a weak dollar, so we've already seen this take off this morning. Missed the boat. We have broke through this trend. We've seen if we look on the lower time frame, we've seen a pullback from this area and a continuation. Again, we've missed the boat. I wouldn't want to be getting involved here. What we could look for, if we look to the left, is we could see a move up to this sort of area first before we pull back. All you have to do is look to the left and see where your support and resistance lines are. Draw those in, set alerts, and then sort of massage the trade based on what's happening with price action. So I like to set alerts here, 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 and here. When those alerts go off, I have a look at the price. I see what the price is doing, and if I get rejection from those areas, and I'm looking for, say, a long trade in this scenario, if I get rejection, I will then draw my fib. So let's say we were rejecting from this area, I draw my fib. I'll be looking for a pullback. I mean, personally, I use the I keep this clean. I keep the 50% retracement and 1618 extension as my profit target. But I'd be looking for a retracement from this area now back to sort of the 50%. This is if it was going to reject now. And then I'd look at price action. So I'd set alerts. I'd look at price action from those levels, see how the market reacted at that level. And if I got confirmation, like a bullish engulfing or a doji or retracement, like these sort of patterns here, then I'd be looking to take the long entry, because again, the euro is strong and the dollar is weak. So that's pretty much how I trade. So euro USD, that's on my hot list as well. USD Swiss, very similar. We've got a strong Swiss, weak dollar. Again, we've already missed the move here. This just set off. I was in this trade last week, and I took it. Sorry, I was in this trade from last Friday, and what I was looking at doing is, if we just zoom out, you see these this trend line here. If you zoom out even further, you can see it goes right back. Yeah. So if you look at this trend line here, what we had is a breakout, and we had a breakout of this trend, roll reversal, and what I did was take this trade around this level on this rejection here, thinking I would get continuation. But what happened is it made a move up first, so I didn't get the best price. I was actually negative for about 4 or 5 days. My stop loss, I ensured it was just below this 40-day moving average. So anyway, we got the rejection. We got this bearish engulfing on the daily last week, and then we got a very aggressive sell-off because of FOMC. So I came out on, I believe, the Thursday afternoon. So I came out around this sort of area here. So there was a lot more in it for me, but you know, after this big move and after being in for so long, I didn't really want to give that profit back. So for me now, I just want to assess how this reacts. We may not be able to get in on this just because we are seeing a continuation, and quite an aggressive continuation straight off. So I don't want to be getting involved after this big move. I would like to see a bigger pullback. Again, with it all being Monday, we want to stay patient. So USD Swiss is also on my hot list. However, as you can see, this aggressive move here, it is looking for a pullback. So again, if we noticeably see a rejection, and I think we may get one off the 97.20 level, we don't want to be entering short because the risk to reward factor is just simply not in our favor. What I'd be looking for is rejection off this 97.20 level, and then draw my fib. What we would look at here is if we get a nice pullback to sort of this 50% retracement around these sort of areas. Again, look for price rejection, and then we can get a continuation short. Stop loss being above the last swing high, probably where the rejection is. So I'd be looking for, again, a pin bar, dojis, a bearish engulfing, tweezer tops, and then I'd be looking for a tight stop loss and a very healthy risk to reward there. Again, fundamentals supports this. We've got a weak dollar, strong Swiss. but I would want to be seeing the pullback first. USD CAD, similar again, as you can see. We broke through this area, this trend line here. We've got a nice morning star formation here. We've got a continuation. This is on the daily, so we've got a bit of indecision here. We've got a morning star again, and this may well continue short, but as you can see, developing a little trend line here, so higher lows. This looks like it might want to roll over and come back to test these moving averages here before we get confirmation. So again, drawing the fib, start to reject here. It's a difficult one, this, this is where it broke out, so 50% retracement is kind of already been achieved. And I think the reason why we're seeing a bit of indecision here at the moment is because it's the beginning of the week, Monday, and although the CAD is affected by oil, with the tensions going on in Iran at the moment, I think the pause for thought here may well be associated with the unknowns there. So I believe we've got Trump going over to Europe as we speak to have a discussion about sanctions or nuclear deals with Iran as well. So there's a few exceptionally unique circumstances going on here at the moment. So, but yeah, it is on my hot list. But again, I don't really want to get involved until I'll get some clear direction there. Euro Aussie. For this one, this is a pure technical play. The euro is strong, and we have got conflicting signals here. If you look on the daily, we have had a very strong finish to last Friday and a strong finish to the week. We also have broke out from this weekly area of support, and we've come back to test it as well. However, we have not come back to test this trend line. So at the moment, what I'm looking for, if you look at the 4 hour here, I'm looking for this to come back, test and reject from this trend line that's forming on the 4 hour, and maybe come back to test. Let's just zoom out. Where are you? There we go. So we could get something like this, test the trend line here, come back to test this area support or here, and then continue long. So for me, this is on my hot list. It may well take the rest of the week to play out, but something like this would suit me. So if we zoom out again, so we've got a touch of the trend line here. Touch of the trend line there. Touch of the trend line there. And it would make sense for us to have a touch of the trend line here, which also marries up with this. Well, it used to be resistance. It's broke out, come back to test the support. And then what I'd be looking for is price rejection around this area here. Again, we've got the RBS news. We've got the RBS statements coming out all week. And if we got price rejection here and it was supported by fundamentals, then I would be looking at potentially taking a long off this area here. So that's the Euro Aussie. And I think the final one I've got is Aussie yen. Just double check this one. Yes, so Aussie yen short. So if we draw the fib, it's quite a speculative way you can draw the fib to. You know, some would put it to here. I like to put it where, I guess, we've got consolidation here. We've got price action forming. So we've got a buildup of orders forming here. We did have a little breakout and a comeback. It's following these moving averages, this dynamic support and resistance, guys. So what you've seen here is a little bit of a wedge forming, and then boom, it's broken out. So this sort of area for me is where I like to put my fib. It's more consolidated. This is just, you know, there's a one touch here, where here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, 6 areas where the price is held. So as you can see here, we are coming back to test the 50% level. However, we have had a strong finish to this 8-hour bar. If we drill down to the 1 hour time frame, for instance, well, again, it's Monday. We do have price rejection from this sort of area here. So I'm just analysing on the fly. So I'm just having to think about what my thoughts are at the moment. We're sat above these moving averages on the 4 hour, which is, well, the reason why we're not going short. What I would like to see now is we've almost got a bullish engulf, bearish engulf, and it all depends on whether or not you count your bearish engulfings with the wick below the one to the left. So for me, what I'd like to see is, I think we're going to see a bit of sideways movement. I'd like to see price rejection below these moving averages before I would like to get involved, if I'm honest. So what I'd be looking for is something like this. I'd like to see a close below these areas here. And so long as I get a close below these moving averages and then some kind of retracement like this. Yeah, so if I see a pattern something like this below these moving averages, what I might like to do is take a short position with my stop loss above this sort of structure here. So again, I will be setting alerts up just to allow the market to come to me, and I'll make assessments along the way. Okay, so that wraps it up for today, guys. Hopefully that will help you throughout the week, and I will speak to you in the next call.